So, welcome to the Digital Maddy Show. This is a platform where I share my knowledge on how to record an amazing video, create your personal brand, and build your online business with ease and comfort with social media marketing. I also invite many influencers and digital marketers on this show and ask amazing questions to extract their secrets of business, which can help you in your business and life. Let's get started with your host. Hi, my name is Mitthyl and I'm a YouTube and video podcast expert, and I help aspiring video influencers to record your video and podcast and make sales through video making. We have an amazing guest on our show. She's already into the studio. Let's welcome her. So let's welcome on our show, Estelle. Let me introduce her. She is the leading authority in helping women overcome binge and emotional eating through her quit binge eating formula. So welcome, Estelle, to our show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great, Estelle. So Estelle, let me ask you one of my favorite questions. Which is your favorite quote or a line that motivates you on a daily basis?
For me, it is this or something better. So we always have so many beautiful things happening for us, or so many things that we wish for. But, it's just like when we celebrate those, we can lean into this is what life is like, or universe, bring me something better.
Absolutely. Great. So, Estelle, would you like to share your backstory with us?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for asking. So I come from a background of struggling with my own personal journey in my relationship with food. I struggled for 13 years with eating, emotional eating, binge eating, going through cycles. And it all started when 13 years ago, I was working a 15-hour workday. I wasn't eating throughout the day. I lived off coffee and cigarettes to get me through. And then in the evenings, I would just eat whatever was in sight because I was so ravenous. I wasn't looking after myself. I was in such a high stressful environment and I didn't know how to manage my stresses, so I just ignored them. And unfortunately, that led to many health issues, many migraines. I was sick all the time. Just very emotional actually, quite often because of the overwhelm I was experiencing. And shortly after that, my husband now proposed, and he basically, I didn't want to go into our relationship with the health that I was in. I just wanted to look good in my wedding dress, first of all. But I knew that something had to change because this wasn't a healthy path for me. So I started eating healthy, started running. And very soon I started seeing physical benefits to my healthy eating. And I started enjoying things like, just having a little bit more stress relief in my day. And as things started looking better, my clothes started fitting better. Unfortunately, I took that the wrong way and I started obsessing over eating healthy and over exercising. So my life went the other way. So the scale went from unhealthy relationship with food in one way where I didn't give a care in the world about it, to the other side where I was obsessing about being healthy, obsessing about exercising, thinking that, if I don't exercise or eat, X amount of calories and cut out X amount of foods, then I'm not healthy. And, unfortunately, that still caused me to binge. So I was in this space where two different sides of the coin, and I realized that something else was going on, because whether I fixed my diet or didn't, that symptom of binge eating, which I normally call it, was still there. That makes sense. So that's a little bit of my backstory of how I started, realizing that, my issues were not food issues. They were something else. Something else was going on.
Cool. But I'm glad that you overcome that, and now you are helping so many other people also to overcome the same thing. So you are truly a Wonder Woman, and congratulations for that.
Thank you so much. Yes, it was an incredible journey, and I'm so glad that I get to now help other women heal their relationship with food. For me, when I was looking for solutions, the only thing I got from Google searches, social media, magazines was it's your diet that needs to be fixed. If you just eat so many calories, or you track your calories, or you don't eat sugar, or you don't eat this, you don't eat fats, then you'll be fixed. And unfortunately, I tried all of those. And many people can relate to this. They've tried everything, and we're still in the space where we still end up overeating, and we don't understand. Like most of the time, I didn't understand why.
Absolutely. So, Stell, can you share your personal binge eating recovery story?
Yes, perfect. So, as I said, I was in the space of being over exercising now. I was obsessing over eating healthy, and this kind of triggered me to eat more, binge more. I was, doing things like buying foods, or I would drive home from work and stop at a service station and buy sweets and snacks and eat it all in my car and hide the packaging so that no one knew what was going on for me. So that's kind of where I was. And my kind of my darkest day was after sitting after a massive binge. I was just sitting on the floor crying, like that ugly cry, holding my dog, and I was just like, I don't know where to go. I've tried everything, and I just feel so hopeless and helpless. And I actually, through wanting to heal, I studied health coaching, and through my health coaching course, I met a lady who specialized in eating disorder recovery. And I reached out to her, and I said to her, I don't know where else to go. And it was through the help that I got from her that I was really able to heal. And she really encouraged me to lean onto the tools that I already had, but I didn't know how to use them. And that was my yoga practice, it was my meditation practice, it was my mindfulness practices, my energy healing. So I combined that all through my healing journey, and all those little things throughout the journey really helped me to stop binge eating.
Awesome. So, Stell, all the people who are listening, can you share a few tips on overcoming overeating?
Yes, I think the biggest thing about overeating is we need to start tuning in, slowing down, and get to know yourself. And I know that's a big ask. So that's quite difficult, because who has time for that? We have to know so many other things. We have to be something for everyone. And in that process, we forget who we are. And in that process, we kind of get lost. And it's then when we feel overwhelmed. And when we in this space of overwhelm, we turn to things to distract us from that overwhelmed feeling, because we don't like feeling like that is uncomfortable. So we lean to things like food, like alcohol, like some people turn to drugs, some people social media addictions, so many things that people can turn to. In my case, it was food. For many people, it's food, because food is so accessible. So in order for us to start healing that relationship, it's just about starting to spend time with yourself, understanding your triggers, whether they are emotional or stress, or, whether your eating comes from habits, and really start just dissecting that and then moving forward. So that's the first one. Number 2 is, and this is super simple, is don't go hungry. So about 80% of overeating and binge eating is as a result because we've left our bodies too long with eating, or we've deprived ourselves from food because we are making up for overeating on the weekend, for example. So our bodies, when it comes to eating, our bodies are like, oh, I might as well eat because I don't know when else I'm going to get food. So, and that's where you don't realize that you're full, and you keep going and you have a second plate, and some people go for a third plate, and then all of a sudden they realize, oh my gosh, that was way too much. So always making sure that you are and this comes back to number 1, tuning into who you are and what your body is asking for. And if you're hungry, please make sure that you have a snack on hand, or that you've got your meals ready, so that you don't put your body in that space where it feels threatened and it feels like it needs to overeat to store for later in case you do this to it again. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Lastly, I think, and this ties in with the first and second one, is making peace with food. So we are we have society, social media, our parents, all have given us certain rules about food. And for example, it's don't eat carbs at night, don't eat carbs, only eat carbs in the morning, only eat certain amounts of carbs, don't eat sugary carbs, only eat that kind of carbs. And unfortunately, we have been conditioned into listening to external advice on what's good for our bodies. So what we really need to do is start listening to what makes us feel good food-wise. Ignore what everyone else is saying and take off that label. If we say that a food is bad, then we actually make that food forbidden in the mind. And when something is forbidden in the mind, what happens? We want it, right? It's like a little kid. If something is out of bounds or forbidden, we so want that. And that's why we start thinking about food all the time. And the foods we think about are the ones that we have put labels on, or have labeled bad, or made forbidden in our eating regime. So take off those labels, becoming more acceptable of all foods, eating all foods. And if you do that, you will find yourself, people think if you allow all foods into your eating regime, that you're only going to eat sugar, and you're only going to eat pizza, or you're only going to eat, whatever your favorite food is. But it's not like that. Your body will eventually say, hey, I need vegetables here. And your body will tune into that. So the more we start just leaning in and allowing more foods, and all foods, unless you have an allergy, of course, the more we will be able to release and relax around food. And that will definitely stop some of the triggers of binge eating.
That's good. That's really good. So Estelle, all the people who are listening to this particular episode, if they want to connect with you, how can they do that?
Thank you so much. Yes, so you can find me on Instagram or Facebook, Wholesome Lifestyle Project. Also, you can connect with me on Facebook. I have a group for supporting mostly women who struggle with binge and emotional eating. It's called Food Freedom for Binge and Emotional Eaters. And yeah, I think those are the 3 main places.
I really loved the name of your Facebook group. That's really cool.
Thank you.
Stell, before we end this particular episode, would you like to say something to our viewers?
Yes, if you are struggling with eating when you're not hungry, I want you to really just I invite you to bring in a new perspective of that. Food is not the enemy, and the reason why you are craving food or you are binging or overeating is because there's something else that's out of alignment. So, and the only reason why you are reacting that way is because you don't know any better way to do that. So you are doing the best you can with what you know. And that is okay for where you are. There is hope out there for you. I have been binge free now for over 2.5 years. And also, like, I 100% understand my emotional eating now. So it's fine for where you are. Know that there is help out there, and just start leaning into what is my body trying to tell me when I'm binge eating like this, or when I'm overeating or craving. And that will lead you into some more of that getting to know you that I was talking about earlier, and just starting to understand yourself better.
Awesome, Stell. So thank you so much, Stell, for being a guest on our show. It was our honor, and thank you so much for providing so much values to us. And I think a lot of people who are listening to this episode, they will also be benefited by it if they execute all the things that you have just shared.
Yeah, definitely. Practice makes perfect.
Absolutely. So you have just listened to the Digital Maddy Show with your host Mitthyl, and we have an awesome guest on our show, Stell, who just gave us an awesome tips on overcoming binge eating. So thank you so much for listening to our show and giving so much love. Don't forget to subscribe to if you're watching this video on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And if you're listening as a podcast, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcast. This is Mitthyl signing off at this moment. Until next time, keep rocking. Catch you in the next episode. Thank you so much, Stell, for being as a guest on the show.